4 passive income ideas I do from home make me $5,000 per week in revenue, and in this video, I'm going to be breaking them all down from least to most profitable so you can replicate them for yourself to make money grow on trees. But the truth is, it doesn't start like this. A lot of these income methods take years to get off the ground, but the first one, renting cars on Turo, is probably one of my least successful.
Turo is a side hustle I've been doing for over 5 years now, and it's been kind of an up and down journey. But I currently have 5 vehicles that I rent out that make anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 per month in bookings. And I recently decided to kind of take a step back from the business by having a Turo management company take care of the work, renting out my 2024 Nissan Sentra and 2025 Volkswagen Jetta for a 30% management fee. And the Subaru Outback, this Toyota Corolla I'm managing for a client, and the Volkswagen Passat are the only cars I'm renting out myself. But the Passat is having so many issues, we have to drop it off at the mechanic shop, which is essentially the only place the car goes at this point. As you guys can see, we just made it to the mechanic shop. Now let's go inside and drop off the keys.
Hello, how are you doing?
How are you?
Just dropping off a Volkswagen Passat. Keys.
Then I filled out a form for the car explaining it had an issue, which I suspected was the radiator fan.
So there you go. Just an oil change, and then one of the lights I think are out, so that's gotta get changed. And then for some reason, like, it shakes when the AC is running, because I'm trying to like probably sell that car. So just get it fixed before I sell it, pretty much.
Okay.
Okay. Yep, it's right there.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
We'll check it out.
Yep. Have a good one.
In total so far with the Volkswagen Passat, I spent $5,500 for the car, and in the last 9 months of renting the vehicle out, it's brought in a negative cash flow of minus $2,108. And that's mostly due to there being constant repairs on the car the last couple months, and there's no signs of things getting better, since now I think the radiator fan on the vehicle is also broken. But on that note, we're now walking back to the house, and once we make it back home, we're gonna go to the Turo Management Company's lot where they store all their cars. We just made it to the Turo Management Company lot, and you guys can see there's a lot of cars here. But we're now here with the owner of the fleet, Ethan, and I'm curious, how many Turo cars are you managing?
So we're currently at 95, planning to be at 150 by the end of the year.
And how much money are all these Turo cars bringing in?
Just a little bit over 6 figures a month.
Now, to get to where you are now, it obviously didn't start like that. So can you tell me any crazy stories that have happened renting cars on Turo?
As a bigger host, you know, you're dealing with tows, police. I mean, we've had FBI, we've had people do, you know, ATM robberies, shootings. I mean, you name it.
But the craziest case of them all ended up on the news.
On a ramp to I-94 that happened earlier this month that left a man injured.
We had some crackheads come steal a car from us. We called OnStar to track the car, got the cops involved.
And they are slowing the vehicle down. It's now at 24 miles an hour.
They slowed the vehicle with OnStar.
Vehicle is slowing. They're bailing.
The guy got out, started shooting at the cops.
Oh, shit!
And yeah, I mean, he's now in prison. So we actually didn't get that car back. It was in police hold for like 2 months, and after the first month, insurance just totaled it out.
Would you say that like damage claims are pretty common when you have this many cars?
Damage claims, I mean, they happen all the time. I mean, one just happened yesterday.
So minor damage like that probably happens more commonly.
Yeah, and you know, unfortunately with the newer cars, all these dealership parts are so expensive. So we're kind of waiting for like aftermarket. I mean, the headlight right there from the dealer is like 1,000 plus.
So over the last 1 to 2 months, you've actually been managing 2 of my Turo cars, which is the Nissan Sentra and then my Volkswagen Jetta. And I'm curious, how have they done so far?
So in June, the Sentra made $1,442. In July, it made $1,500.
After everything, I know for June, I got paid out $800, which is pretty solid. And now we're gonna move over to the Jetta. How much did that make?
So we haven't had the Jetta even all month in July, but it's already made $1,000.
I was super impressed by those revenue figures, but you have to remember it's not all profit, since the management company takes a 30% fee. Then after maintenance costs, insurance, and a car payment on the Jetta, our profit on those 2 Turo cars was $1,000 last month. Then for the cash flow I made renting out the Subaru myself and the management fee I get on the Corolla, we made a total profit of $1,260 this month, while the Passat basically just cost me money.
I'm about to pick up the Passat from the mechanic shop, and the total cost for the repairs came out to $675. And I'm expecting once the Passat is finally sold, my 4 remaining Turo cars will make me $2,260 in monthly cash flow. And that's with very little active work.
But next up, Pokémon Vending is a business I started 6 weeks ago, and we're already up to 3 locations.
The first location I got is inside this Amtrak train station, and in the last 30 days, it's done $1,083.20 in total sales. And when you walk inside the train station, you guys can see the machine is just standing outside of this convenience store, and if you want to buy a pack, you just select it and pay with card or Apple Pay. The card prices in the vending machines range from $8 all the way up to $40 each, just depending on which set the Pokemon cards are from. But as a general rule of thumb, I always mark my prices up 20% from my cost price and then add $5. So if I buy packs for $10 each, I sell them in the machines for $17 or $16.99 per pack.
But after seeing the success of my first Pokemon vending machine location 2 weeks ago, I spent $11,000 buying 3 more machines from VTM and placed 2 more locations inside a bowling alley and a smoke shop in my local area.
The bowling alley location behind me has been going for about 2 weeks, and so far it's made $364.59 in sales, and it started off super hot the first week, getting a bunch of sales, but it's definitely slowed down now, which the owner did say summer is a lot slower for bowling centers versus in the winter when I guess everyone in Wisconsin goes bowling. And finally, the most recent vending location I placed 1 week ago is inside this smoke shop, and so far in the first week it's done $115.03 in sales, and I just put a poster on the back of the Pokemon vending machine that you can see from the window of this strip mall, so people know you can go inside this smoke shop now to buy Pokemon cards.
And from 3 locations so far, we've brought in $1,562.82 in sales so far this month. And after product costs, NIAX card reader fees, and commission, we're left with about $506.50 in profit for very little work, since I only have to go to restock the machines every 2 or 3 weeks.
Which is not bad considering 2 of the machines have only been running for 1 to 2 weeks. And in a couple days on August 3rd, we're going to be placing this 4th VTM machine inside a mall in my local area with heavy foot traffic and a 15% commission structure. Moving forward to next month, once all the machines are running, I'm expecting revenue of about $4,000 per month. So that's why I'm planning to expand this business and buy a lot more machines. The goal is 10 to 20 by the end of this year. And if you guys want to join me on this journey, be sure to click the top link down below in the description and use code FinancialWolf to save $125 on a VTM machine. But the third passive income method I've been running for over 3 years that I recently decided to scale back on is Bitcoin mining. This all started when I drove out to Iowa to tour a Bitcoin miner hosting facility and decided to buy 2 ASIC S19 Pros for $5,000 to be hosted there for an energy rate of just 6.5 cents per kilowatt. In the end, you guys can see we mined a total of 0.23638 Bitcoin, which even with the recent huge price drop is currently worth about $15,000. But with an energy bill of $285.60 monthly, pretty much all the profit I made mining Bitcoin was eaten away over the 40 months the machines were running. Since $285.60 monthly times 40 months is $11,424 in electricity costs. And when you combine that with $4,000 in depreciation on the Bitcoin mining equipment, it's essentially a loss, if not a slight negative. And if I'd instead invested that $5,000 I spent on machines into Bitcoin instead, we'd be in profit $10,000 right now, since the price of Bitcoin has nearly tripled even with the recent price decline.
For that reason, I don't think Bitcoin mining is really worth it unless you have free electricity included in your rent or you're using Bitcoin miners to heat up your house.
But even then, the machines are kind of loud, which is why I'm actually selling all my crypto miners, and I'm going to use the proceeds to continue to invest in my vending machine route.
Over the last 8 years that I've been doing YouTube and making content about money-making methods, I've had a bit of shiny object syndrome, moving from one hustle to the next without giving things enough time to be successful. The only thing I've consistently stuck with throughout all this time is making social media content, which marks the 4th passive income stream and also the most lucrative. But going forward, from the 3 passive income streams I mentioned so far, I'm expecting about $8,000 per month in revenue coming in, and from my YouTube and social media content, I've been making about $10,000 to $20,000 per month from it at a much higher profit margin. The first way is ad revenue, which is part of how I monetize the videos on both YouTube and TikTok. On TikTok last month, we brought in 1.3 million views, which paid me $2,208.31. Since I had a video blow up that was over a minute in length, and sometimes TikTok will pay a crazy RPM for that. The total works out to about $1.70 per 1,000 views. As for my YouTube channel, it brought in 396,123 views last month, and I got paid $2,214 from that in AdSense revenue. Combined between YouTube and TikTok, that's only $4,422.41 in monthly revenue, but where does the rest of the money come from? from. Affiliate marketing and sponsorships. In my videos, you'll see me promote different products or services I'm using, and if people buy a product or sign up for a service using my link, I get paid out via commission, or sometimes I just get a flat fee for a video. Sponsors is how most YouTubers make the majority of their income, but affiliate marketing is a method that's really slept on, and I'm even gonna start using it with my Pokémon vending machines. Since I'm gonna start working with a company called Triumph, which is essentially like a digital trading card platform where you can rip packs virtually and either sell the cards that you pull back or get them shipped to your house. And they're going to send me custom top loaders that fit these booster packs with, I think, Triumph branding on them that has like a QR code people can scan. And if they do and sign up for the app, we're gonna start making affiliate commission, which opens up a whole new stream of revenue for these Pokémon machines. And affiliate marketing is a business that can build over time without you always having to actively be working. I have videos on this channel from years ago that promote affiliate links that still pay me some commission every single month. But on that note, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like and leave me a comment down below letting me know which passive income stream you're trying to build up for yourself next. Peace out.